My name is Pavel Novak. I am 32 years old and I died in a muddy field covered with snow. Before this happened, my life was quiet. And that was good. I lived in a small town far from the big cities. I worked with wood, making tables and fixing doors. I loved the smell of fresh wood shavings in the morning. I loved how smooth wood felt in my hands. I was married to Elena, the most wonderful woman I ever met. We had a son named Alexei. He had his mother's bright eyes and a smile that made everyone happy. My days were about making furniture, eating Elena's cooking, and showing Alexei how to count the stars at night. We went to church every Sunday. I prayed, but maybe like how you breathe. You do it without really thinking about it. I never thought about fighting. I never thought about dying. I just worried about things like fixing our roof before winter came. Then everything changed and they made me leave. I became a fighter. The man who built things was given a gun and told to destroy things. Every day was freezing cold. Every day was so loud. And every day I just wanted to go back home. I missed the smell of wood. I missed Elena's laugh. I missed holding my boy in my arms. The day it happened was like every other day, cold and gray. The air smelled like wet dirt and metal. We were walking through bare trees that looked like skeletons. Then there was a screaming sound, the kind you learn to hate more than anything. I remember thinking about Elena for just a second, seeing her face in my mind. That was it. Then there was a sound so loud it wasn't really a sound anymore. It was just force and fire. And then nothing. Complete quiet. The pain was gone. The cold was gone. All the fear was gone. I felt weightless. I opened my eyes, but they weren't my body's eyes. It was something different. I was floating up slowly like a piece of dust in the wind. Below me I saw everything. The broken black trees, the frozen mud, and I saw bodies, my friends and my own body too. It was lying there all twisted and broken. There was blood everywhere. It was weird. I felt sad, like I was watching a sad movie. But I wasn't scared. It felt like I was separate from it all. I saw other soldiers running and heard them yelling, but their voices sounded far away, like they were calling from across a huge valley. I knew I was dead. The thought didn't frighten me. It was just true, like knowing water is wet. And I felt okay about it. A deep calm started filling me up. A peace I had never felt when I was alive. Not even in my happiest times with my family. This was a peace that went all the way through me. Then I felt something pulling me gently, like a loving hand. I turned away from the scene below and saw a light. At first it was far away, like one star. But it got bigger and brighter. It wasn't a harsh light that hurt your eyes. It was warm and welcoming. It felt alive. I wasn't walking toward it with my body. My soul, my spirit, whatever you want to call it, was just drawn to it. Like a freezing person being drawn to a warm fire. As I got closer, the light began to look like a person. It was a man. I couldn't see his face clearly at first because the light coming from him was so bright and pure. But this light wasn't just light. It was love. I know that sounds strange. How can light be love? But it was. Every part of me could feel it. It was a love that was more real than the ground I used to walk on. It was a love that knew everything about me. Every bad thought I ever had, every selfish thing I ever did, every time I lied or hurt someone, it knew all of it. And none of it mattered. I was loved completely. Not for what I did, but just for who I was. Tears filled my eyes, but they weren't sad tears. They were tears of relief. All the weight of my whole life just melted away. All the dirt of the world, the anger from the war, my own mistakes, it all just disappeared in his presence. Finally, I was standing in front of him. And I could see his face. It was Jesus. I knew it right away. Not from the pictures in church. Those pictures are nothing. They're like a child's drawing of the sun. He was real, more real than anything I had ever seen. His eyes are what I remember most. They weren't blue or brown. They were made of light and kindness and wisdom as old as time itself. When he looked at me, I felt like I was the only person in the whole universe. He saw me. The real me. The little boy who was afraid of the dark. The man who loved his wife so much it hurt. The soldier who was so tired of fighting. He saw it all. And his eyes were full of love. He didn't speak with his mouth. His voice was in my head, in my heart, everywhere at once. It was a voice that was both like thunder and like a whisper. And the first thing he said to me was, "Welcome home, my child. You can rest now." And I could. I just stood there crying in his light. I didn't want to do anything else. I didn't need anything else. I was home. After some time, I don't know how long, he spoke again. His voice was still gentle, but it had sadness in it, a deep sadness that seemed to come from everywhere. "Pavel," he said, "I need to show you something." The light around us changed. We weren't in that place of light anymore. We were floating above the earth. I could see the continents, the blue oceans, the swirling white clouds. It was beautiful, so perfect. This is what I made, he said. I love it. I love every person on it. But they have forgotten me. Then he showed me things. It wasn't like watching TV. I was inside it. I could feel everything. First, he showed me a family in a big city. They were sitting around a table full of food, but nobody was talking. The father was staring at his phone, looking angry about something he was reading. The mother was looking at pictures on her screen, looking sad. The kids were playing games on their own devices. They were all together, but they were completely alone. They have everything, Jesus said, and his voice was full of sadness. But they are empty inside. Their hearts are not connected to each other because they are not connected to me. This is where the darkness begins. In the empty spaces inside people. Then the scene changed. He showed me a church. People were singing loud songs with their hands in the air. But Jesus showed me their hearts. One man was thinking about how much money he needed to make that week. A woman was judging what someone else was wearing. The preacher was thinking about how many people would watch his sermon online. Their prayers were like little puffs of smoke that rose a few feet and then disappeared. They say they love me with their words, he said, and the sadness in his voice was almost too much to hear. But their hearts are far away from me. They ask me for things, but they don't ask for me. They want my gifts, but they don't want my heart. Their prayers have no power because they are not filled with real love. I felt ashamed. My own prayers had been like that so many times. Just lists of things I wanted, not real talks with the God who loved me. Then he showed me something else. And this is the hardest part to tell you about. My whole being shakes when I remember it. He showed me the leaders of the world. Not just one country, but many countries. I saw them in their important rooms around big tables. And I saw the evil spirits that were whispering in their ears. They were dark, twisted things, demons. They whispered about power, about pride, about fear. They told the leaders that the only way to be safe was to be stronger than their enemies, to build bigger weapons, to never give in. The leaders couldn't see these demons, but they were listening to them. This is the great lie, Jesus said to me. They put their trust in weapons that can destroy everything. They think these things will keep them safe. They are building their own towers like the one at Babel, made of steel and fire. They don't understand that real strength comes from giving up control. Real safety comes from trusting in me. And then he showed me what happens next. I saw a flash, a light brighter than 1,000 suns. It appeared on the horizon of some country, I don't know which one. It didn't matter. Then a giant cloud rose up into the sky like a mushroom. But what he showed me wasn't just the fire. He showed me the souls. I felt it. I felt a million voices crying out all at once. Fear, pain, confusion. Families destroyed in 1 second. I saw the spirits of mothers looking for their children. I saw the spirits of children lost and scared. The wave of death and grief hit me like an ocean. It was pain so complete that I fell down in his presence. I couldn't stand it. And I saw the demons. They were laughing. They were celebrating because every soul lost in fear and anger was a win for them. Then I saw another flash and another on the other side of the world. Revenge, pride, fear. More flashes. More cities turning to dust. I saw London. I saw Moscow. I saw Washington. I saw Beijing. I saw them as beautiful cities full of life. And then I saw them as smoking holes in the ground. The sky of the earth turned dark with ash. The air became poison. The water became poison. I saw people who lived through it. They were starving. They were sick. They were killing each other for a piece of bread or a cup of clean water. There were no countries anymore. There were no flags. There was only suffering. It was hell on earth made by people. I lay there crying. It was too much. The sadness was like an ocean and I was drowning in it. Please, I begged him. Please make it stop. You can stop it. You are God. Jesus knelt beside me. The light from him was softer now. He put his hand on my back and a wave of peace flowed into me, pushing back the horror just enough so I could breathe. My child, he said, and his voice was breaking with a sadness that seemed to come from God himself. This is the path they are choosing. This is what happens when hearts grow cold, when homes have no prayer, when nations become proud. I don't want this. My Father doesn't want this. Every soul that is lost is like a universe of pain to us. He looked at me with pleading eyes. I'm holding it back. The prayers of the faithful ones, the real ones, the humble ones, they are like pillars holding back a wall that wants to fall down. But there aren't enough of them. The wall is cracking. People's hearts are getting colder. They love their opinions more than they love each other. They trust their bombs more than they trust me. So it's hopeless? I asked, my spirit shaking. It's going to happen no matter what? Nothing is hopeless while I am still on the throne, he said. And for the first time I felt a wave of pure power from him that shook the heavens. But I don't force people to do what I want. I give them a choice. This is the future they are building without me. But it doesn't have to be this way. He showed me another vision. He showed me a small group of women in a basement somewhere praying. Their prayers were like a bright pillar of light going straight up into heaven. He showed me a man in Africa forgiving the people who had hurt his family. As he forgave them, a shield of light formed over his village. He showed me a teenager somewhere who chose to praise God instead of giving up hope, and her praise confused the dark spirits that were trying to hurt her family. Look, Jesus said. This is the weapon that can win this war. Not bombs, love, forgiveness, humble prayer, saying you're sorry and meaning it. One heart that truly turns back to me can change the future of a whole family. A family that turns back to me can change the future of a whole city. A city that turns back to me can change the future of a whole nation. He looked deep into me. I didn't show you this to fill you with fear. I showed you this to light a holy fire in you. Fear is their weapon. Hope is mine. I understood. I finally got it. The real war wasn't on battlefields with guns and tanks. It was in the hearts of every single person on the planet. I felt calm settle over me. I knew what I needed to do. But I didn't want to do it. I want to stay here with you, I said, the words sticking in my throat. Please don't make me go back. It's so ugly down there. So cold. I remember the mud, the blood, the hate in people's eyes. Here there is only love. He smiled, a sad but gentle smile. He put his hand on my cheek. Pavel, my brave soldier, your war is not over. I'm sending you back as a messenger. You have seen what is coming. You have seen the only way out. Go and tell them. Tell them to wake up. But I am nobody, I said. I am just a guy who works with wood, a simple soldier. Who will listen to me? You will not be alone, he said, his voice full of promise. I will be with you. I will give you the words. You just have to be willing to speak them. Tell them to stop fighting over flags and pieces of land. Tell them to start fighting the real enemy, the hate in their own hearts. Tell them to pray not empty words but prayers from broken and humble hearts. Tell them that their prayers are holding back the darkness. Tell them that I love them and I am waiting for them. The thought of leaving him was the worst pain I had ever felt. Worse than the explosion, worse than seeing the end of the world. It was like my soul was being torn apart. I begged him. Please let me stay. Your family needs you, he whispered. Elena, little Alexei, you have work to do. But don't worry. This is not goodbye. I will be waiting for you when your work is done. He leaned forward and kissed my forehead. An explosion of pure love and light went through my entire being. And then I was falling down, back into the darkness, back into the cold. I gasped the most painful gasp of my life. My chest felt like it was on fire. I was cold, so incredibly cold. My whole body was screaming in pain. Someone was shouting my name. He's breathing. Pavel is breathing. Get the medic. My eyes fluttered open. The sky was still gray. I could smell the mud and something sharp like medicine. A young man, a medic, was leaning over me. His face was pale with shock. Hold on, son, he said, his voice shaking. Just hold on. I was put on a stretcher. Everything was a blur of noise and pain. Later, in a field hospital, a doctor came to see me. He was an older man with tired eyes. He looked at my chart, then at me. I don't understand it, he said, shaking his head. You were gone. No heartbeat, no breathing for at least 12 minutes. Medically, that's impossible. And the metal pieces from the explosion, they were everywhere. They tore through your vest. They should have torn through your heart, but it's like they just stopped a few tiny spaces away from your heart. I've been a doctor for 30 years. I've never seen anything like it. I just lay there and cried. Not from the pain in my body. I cried because I had just left heaven. I cried because I missed him. And I cried because I knew what was coming if the world didn't change. So that is my story. I am not a prophet. I am not a special person. I am a man who works with wood, who was sent to a war he didn't want and saw something he can never forget. Jesus sent me back with a message for you, for everyone. He told me to tell you that time is running out. The world is standing on the edge of a cliff. The leaders are being lied to and they are putting their faith in weapons that will only destroy us all. But there is hope. The hope is you. The hope is in your heart. If you are reading this, he is calling to you. He is asking you to choose a side, not a country, not a political party. He is asking you to choose him.